Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and we are meeting for another love circle. And today we are talking about your true worth. Worthiness issues are very, very common, and a good chunk of population, especially women, they suffer with worthiness issues, even if they are very successful in life. In terms of their career, in terms of what they possess, in terms of the material things, but there still could be the worthiness issue. So today we are going to unpack it. I would tell you now on, this session is going to be one of the most important sessions I ever did. So hang tight. I have a lot to cover. And in preparation of that, I did go into a little bit of a rabbit hole because I really want to do my best to uncover some truth for you. Because when we are struggling with the worthiness issues, what's going on inside of our subconscious mind, we are holding on to some lies. We are believing some lies. But because they have been there for so long, we can't even tell they are lies. So they become our blind spot, just like how every car has a blind spot and you have to actually turn your head and physically check, given like if you don't have the blind spot checking light in your car. Mine doesn't. Mine is a little bit of older car, one of those. If you don't turn, you're gonna hit into somebody. You still have to turn. So that's what we are going to do today. We are going to assume that your car does not have a blind spot checkers yet. It's not that high tech. And you are going to learn how to actually turn your head, look there, question everything, and really resolve these worthiness issues. Whatever we are going to learn today, watch this session multiple times. Because if these concepts are new to you, it is going to take a little bit of repetition for them to really sink in. I am still working on this concept. I am just going deeper and deeper and deeper. The higher you want to go in terms of connecting with your own higher self, your worthiness is always kind of getting higher and higher, or it's expanding. If expanding makes sense to you, you're always expanding in terms of your understanding how worthy you are. So let's start with this. I went on a Google search and I just wanted to see what self-worth is all about. And the definition is I got that is just another term for self-esteem. So what is self-esteem? It's confidence in your own ability. Like, I can do something. This is your like, I can do something in my own ability. Let's say if I'm a painter, I'm a wonderful painter. Let's say I've been practicing for 10 years. My self-worth is going to be higher because my self-esteem is going to be higher because my confidence in my own ability to create a masterpiece is going to be higher. That's why when we go into a regular job place, entry level, you get paid less. When you're 10 years in, you get paid more because that's how they're measuring the self-worth, how much you are worth based on how much you have learned in terms of your skill. And the reason I'm sharing all that, because these are the things we all know, and our true worth come from a very different place. You don't need to be a PhD doctor, lawyer, accountant, CPA to feel worthy. I'm going to make sure no matter where you are, you're going to walk away truly feeling worthy today. That's the goal. What is confidence? Confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something else. So confidence is I can rely on myself. I can rely on my ability. But there's a very cool word they also used called firm trust. Confidence is firm trust, where I can trust myself in my ability. To self-worth really comes down to how much you trust yourself. So we are going to learn how did it even come about? So when you're saying, okay, Alia, I'm having self-worth issues, basically you're having a hard time trusting yourself with your own life, with your own decision, and it didn't happen yesterday. Self-trust or trust in life, in your surrounding, it's built in the first year of your life. So just imagine the first year of your life, if you can talk to your mom, to your dad, or anyone who was around at that time, what was going on? What was going on around you? How you were treated as a baby? Was every time you cry, was there an adult to pick you up and feed you on time? Was your diaper changed on time? Or did you sleep and poop for hours? All that adds into your trust in yourself, in life, in people in general, and also in God. Because that is when your physical nervous system is kind of like, being formed, your patterns, your behavior, your belief, everything is being formed. So let's say in the first year of your life, you were neglected. Maybe one of your parent was sick. Maybe something else was going on in mom and dad life. Maybe they were struggling with money. Maybe they were struggling in their relationship. You are going to end up with lack of trust and low self-worth. No matter how wonderful your life is, that's what's going to happen. So I just wanted to bring up this topic a little bit so we know what we are really working with. And now let's dive in. So who dictates self-worth? Like, who decide how worthy you are? Let's say outside of your job, like if you're working somewhere, if you're entry level, you're worth nothing, they can get rid of you. But if you've been there for 20 years, you're worth something. They're going to think twice before firing you because you're adding. So that is a kind of worth. They trust you that you can carry your job if you've been there for so long. But when I am sitting here and I am looking at myself and I am going to focus on underneath everything, it's the trust, how much I trust myself. But of course, we are not thinking that way. We are not thinking day to day like that. When I think of my worth, when I say I'm having worthiness issues, I am comparing myself. I am comparing how much I have versus how much you have, how much my friend have, how much the society have, how much somebody I follow on Instagram have. So if they are living in a 10-bedroom beautiful mansion and I'm living in an apartment, I'm going to start having worthiness issues. I'm going to start saying, oh my God, I'm such a total loser. I am evaluating it. That's the point I want to get across. You are evaluating your own life, comparing it with somebody else, and you're labeling that you are less worthy. On the surface, that's what's going on, but on a deeper level, it's actually a trust issue, which we are going to fix today. But on the top, you are comparing yourself with somebody else. And usually when we are comparing ourselves with somebody else, we just look at the physical possessions. If your friend is driving, Porsche and you're driving Honda, you're going to feel low self-worth compared to them, even if that friend doesn't even care. Maybe for them, car doesn't even matter. But deep down within you, it does matter because you're self-evaluating. I had a conversation earlier this week or this last weekend with one of my friends / client. And one of the things she was talking about, I don't feel accomplished. And I was just, in the conversation, we're just coming around who we are comparing ourselves to. And this is if we look at the, on paper, it's one of the very accomplished people I know. But why there is that feeling of I don't feel accomplished? It's self-evaluation. So one thing I want you to understand just in this conversation, you decide how worthy you are. No one else decide. Nothing else decide. No house can decide that. If you have self-worth issues now, which means on a deeper level, you don't trust yourself, even when you're going to become a millionaire, you're still going to have self-worth issues, because then you'd be like, oh, why I'm not a billionaire? Once you get to billionaire, then you're like, well, I'm not a trillion, if that exists. Why don't I have that? So outer possession is not going to fill this gap of trust in your own ability that you can actually depend on yourself. It's not going to fix that. You can live a pretty, decent, maybe middle-class lifestyle and still feel very worthy. And most likely when we are in that place where we feel worthy, we can reach more of our potential. So naturally, people who feel very worthy, they're always advancing in life in terms of their impact and also in terms of their material possession too. Because with impact, if you're solving problems for other people, the way this world works, it brings in money. Whenever you solve somebody's problem, the exchange is always money. And unless you're doing volunteer work, and then the more you're impacting, the wealthier you're getting at the same time. So sometimes, we just look at that and we're like, only if I have more money, I'll feel more worthy. It's actually the other way around. When you feel worthy, you live more of your potential because you trust yourself more, and that's when you can actually have more. You would let yourself live your full potential, because each and every one of us is infinite. We are infinite beings in a finite body. And the more you connect with that part of you, your true self, you can have access to that infinite part of you. And oh my, that part of you never runs out of ideas or the wisdom to solve other people's problems. And each and every one of us have a unique thing that we can offer to other people, each and every one of us. So far we got to who's determining? It's you determining your self-worth. Now, there's something I want to show you guys in terms of your subconscious mind. Why we go into comparison? So again, we're going to go back to the stick figure. This wonderful, beautiful stick figure that makes things very easy for us. This is your heart. This is your conscious mind. This is your subconscious mind. So we are looking at the dynamics or the mechanics of what is actually going on when we have low self-worth issues. Okay, so you were 1 year old, 0 to 12 months. So till 0 to 7, this is all we have. We don't have a conscious mind. This is 0 to 7. But trust in life, trust in people, trust in yourself, trust in general is built during the first 12 months. So that time, you only had your subconscious mind. The wonderful thing about subconscious mind is, not so wonderful sometimes, it takes in everything. It's not going to reject. Conscious mind has the ability to reject an idea. Subconscious mind does not. Subconscious mind is more like when you're in a state of hypnosis. So kids who are between 0 to 7, they're in state of hypnosis. So let's say you're 12 months, you're absorbing everything that's coming to you, whether it's a conversation mom and dad are having, whether it's the energetical signal that they're sending to you, whether it's their behavior pattern that you're observing. And yes, even at that age, we are very heightened in our awareness because we are not vocal yet. We cannot speak. So there are other senses that are very heightened that are just taking in information, and we are already creating behavior, beliefs, patterns within us, because that is very important for our survival. That's why we have that mechanism. But we kind of also get screwed up there too, because you're absorbing everything. and you're giving meaning to everything all at the same time as well. So let's say you were crying. Maybe mom was cooking. Maybe she didn't even pay attention to that you were crying. Maybe she didn't have the baby monitor, or maybe you grew up in a part of the world where there were no baby monitor. Maybe you were crying for 15 minutes before she realized, oh my God, you're crying. In that moment, a core wound is built. So core wound exists in every single person, but it got created. I am not lovable, or I am not enough that someone can love me. So that is worthy. I am not worthy of love, or I am not lovable. There's something wrong with me. So that is what is being built within us at that time. That feeds into our low self-worth issues later on. That is one thing I want you to keep in mind. And the second thing is, let's see, mom has self-worth issues. All of them are being transferred to you. Maybe dad has self-worth issues. They are being transferred to you. Maybe your grandma had self-worth issues. Energetically, our beliefs do get transferred from one generation to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, till someone say, enough is enough. I'm going to stop it. I am going to change it. That's when you do this kind of work, the work that we are doing. I call it, I think the general term is used in our work, where you shift the beliefs, the behavior, the patterns, the way people are used to being in your family. You say, I am the one who will break this chain that's been carrying. And I am going to pause and do the work and question everything and create a different level of self-worth. Everything changes at that point energetically. Your kids are going to be very different, and their kids are going to be very different, because you're breaking that lineage. You're shifting everything going forward. So if you don't do that kind of work, it pass on. So the second thing to remember is, you just got inherited with these issues. They don't belong to you. It was one, the way you were treated, and the second, they were inherited as well. And the third is, anything that is happening in your environment, you're absorbing it. Maybe your mom didn't have these issues, but your mom have a very close friend. And throughout the pregnancy, the friend was always coming over, and she's maybe like, very close to you too. And she always complained about her low self-esteem, self-worth issues, confidence issues. You will absorb that, because during that time period, we are literally in hypnosis. We will believe anything that is told to us, because unconscious mind is just taking in every single thing. So what I want to challenge you in this part of our conversation, the self-worth issues that you have, they don't even belong to you. They are not yours. So I really want you to start thinking about it throughout the day. These are not mine. Someone else gave them to me. And then you can make a decision. Do you want to change that? Or do you want it to pass on to your kids? And if you have never done this work, they have already been passed on if you already have kids. But once you shift them, you shift it in your kids too. Because this is going to change the energetics, the energy around you. And your kids, even if they are grown up, they are connected with you energetically. And as you shift your energy, their energy is going to get shifted too. So the work that you are going to do is going to change everything. So if you don't get it, like, if it's not actually your issues, you were inherited, you're just living them. Just like maybe how your mom and dad lived them. You're just living them with these issues, in these thoughts in your mind. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough to have this. Then what is your true worth? Who are you if you're not this low self-esteem, low confident, low self-worth person? If that is not your truth, if that is just a paint that got painted on you, what is your true color? This is, of course, my favorite part. This is where we get to shift it because we want to make it very easy. We are not going to make it complicated. When we make it complicated, our subconscious mind says, okay, I'm out of here. I take only simple things. A thing that you can teach a 5-year-old kid, that's what your subconscious mind will absorb. So we always have to make it very easy. But of course, our left brain always wants to make it very complicated and fancy and whatnot. But we are going to keep it very easy. Whether you believe in a higher power, you come from a religious background where you believe in a higher power, there's a God, or you believe that, there's universe created you. However you believe it, someone created you. And there is some kind of energy within you, something that makes you go like this, that makes you wave your hand, that makes you talk. Something is there. And the day that power leaves your body, we end up having a funeral for each other. You're dead, you're gone. What is that power that leaves you? What is the potential of that power? And if you do believe in a religion, you do come from a religious background, then you already know, or you were taught, that God created you in his image. In a way, God can create, so can you. He gave us the creative power. So that means you can create yourself to be whoever you want to be. If I can create, let's say if I have a wonderful big workshop where I can create anything. I don't know if you ever saw that show. It was one of those shows on TV where kids are calling and they want them to make a toy, and then all these engineers and woodworkers and all kind of experts, they gather together and they actually create that. But that shop, not a shop, like the place that they were using, it was filled with all kind of tools. Let's say if I am a creator like that, I have all the tools. I can create whatever I want. I can become whatever I want because God created me in his image. He gave me the ability to create. There are some of the attributes that I have within me that are similar to God, of course, on a human level. I cannot, be a God and like have the earth and moon, can't control their circulation and the stars and whatnot, or the ocean, but I can create my own life. I can control my own thoughts. I can control my own life. I can control the person I would be. So then my self-worth, my true worth, my trust in myself. So the trust will come from who God made me to be. And if you do have a religious background, you do have a connection with God. First of all, if you don't have if you don't have like a good relationship with God, that's one of the things I work on. Please reach out to me if you're like, me and God have been like, kind of separated for a while, but you want to improve it. If you're like, I'm angry at God, never want to talk to him, okay, that's another problem. I can help with that too. But if you do want to fix it, that is one of the core things I work with my clients. Please reach out to me for that. So if you already have a solid connection with God, so you are trusting in what he's created. So the trust is coming from that higher level to a lower level. I trust what he created. I have confidence in it. And I am confident in its ability. And I do feel higher self-esteem in what he's created. And whatever he's created, I know is worthy. See how we are climbing the ladder? So whatever God has created is worthy. He does not create in vain. He created you. You have the ability to create. So your true worth is coming, you as God's creation. Just because he created you, you are worthy. and you can put all the trust over to his ability. And if you do have a good, solid relationship with that higher power, it's not something your subconscious is going to question, because it has been repeated so many times. It's already very solid in your unconscious mind. That's why it's so much easy to have people fight over religion. It's so easy because we are very attached to it. We are very attached to it. Most of us are very attached to it. So we are going to attach to that solid belief, and we are going to attach our worth to that. We are not done here. We are building step by step. So that's the first thing, that, because God created me, I am worthy. So you're going to first place, let's say if we are building a new foundation, you're going to put the first stone, and that is, God created me. That's why I'm worthy. So that is the foundation. Now we are going to build on top of that. God gave you the power to create. Now, what are you going to create? So your mind would be like, well, if I get a 10-bedroom home, I'll feel very worthy. I want to create all that so I can feel worthy. So you're going to go towards I want to create that. But we want to focus on who you are going to be as God's creation. Because trust is B, confidence is B, self-esteem is B. So instead of creating physical stuff yet, we are going to first create invisible things within us that we cannot see. You can't really see how much a person is confident. Yeah, once you start talking to them, you'll see they are not making eye contact. They're getting a little bit nervous. But we are going to create those invisible things first. The visible will come later. It will come on its own. So now, okay, you understand God created me, I'm worthy. Now it comes to, do you see yourself worthy? Because that's just a concept. You have never seen God. You could even say there was a big bang and then I came into being. I evolved from a bacteria. We can believe that too. Now we have to work that you can start seeing yourself as worthy. So there's a quote that I am going to share from the Course of Miracle, and it's been on my computer ever since my mentor told me about it a little over 2 years ago. I would like you to actually take this quote, write it down, and put it somewhere where you can see it over and over and over. Whether you have self-worth issues or you don't, it's good either way, because it's going to improve how you see yourself, who you are being towards yourself. So here's the quote. The truth about you is so lofty that nothing unworthy of God is worthy of you. So the first part is, the truth about you is so lofty that the truth, if you ever discover who you truly are outside of this body, or even with this body, with all the mechanism and the wonderful different aspect that God has created you with, if you ever discover that truth, it's so lofty that nothing unworthy of God is worthy of you. If something is not worthy of God, it's not worthy of you. Choose then what you want in these terms and accept nothing you would not offer to God as wholly fitting for him. So I'm going to summarize it. Treat yourself as you would treat God, a higher power. So let's say if you have low self-worth, and you're always thinking negative about yourself, what's wrong with you? Why do you always do this? You can never get anything right. See, you're such a loser, and that person is so successful, or they are doing so good in life. What you're doing, you're giving yourself something that you will not give a God. You're choosing something for yourself that you would not choose for God. You won't talk to a God like that. So that is the thing you need to drop. how you are being towards yourself. So you're going to raise, right now, you're going to raise the standard way, 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 way high, how you treat yourself. You need to start treating yourself as you are one of the highest creation ever created. Again, you don't need understanding. You don't need to really understand, how am I the highest creation? I'm so clumsy. I am never getting anything right. We are not talking about that right now. Remember, we are building. I got a few of these stones. So we're just building. We're putting the next tile on this foundation. The first one is my worth is God created me, so I must be worthy. He doesn't not create things, that are not worthy. Every one of his creation is something. Even the tiny blade of grass is something, right? It adds to this universe. That's why he created you. The second is, do I treat myself like a God? Now, all of your growth is going to happen right here. This is where the problem is. And the reason the problem exists here is because of this, because of all the stuff you have absorbed. You think it's yours, it's your voice, that critical voice, and you just attack yourself all day long. So separating yourself, I am not this voice. I am not who this voice think I am. Start creating that separation. And let me give you a visual that always helps me. So right now, let's say this is who you think you are, but you're actually a being living in this physical body. So I want you to do what I am inviting you to do is start seeing the separation. So who we become based on our unconscious programming is actually the false self. So I am inviting you to start seeing yourself in your truth and in the false. The false came from your surrounding. It was inherited from your lineage, but the truth is what God created you as. Now, there's a reason we all have chosen to live the path that we have, because if you're the only person in your family right now who's watching something like that, who's interested in learning something like that, maybe as a soul, you decided that for this lineage, I am going to be the person who's going to completely heal and shift the trauma that has been passed on in terms of low self-worth and all those kind of issues. But first, you need to start seeing yourself as God's creation, and another part of you that was just created randomly because the household you were in, or the environment you were in, maybe part of the world you were in. As a woman, if you're having low self-worth issues, maybe you were born in part of the world where women are seen as nothing. I was personally born in that part of the world. I am still to this day is working on that. One of the story I recently became aware of, I have known it, but now I became aware of it because I am going down to that first 12 months of my life and I am working through things over there, whatever I need to work through, just to see where the things are stemming from. When I was born, so I was the fifth daughter, there was a proper mourning ceremony arranged by the women of the family to mourn my birth. Isn't that wonderful? As a child. So when I came home with my mom sat down with them. She has to comply with whatever everyone else is doing. She does not want to stand out as somebody, okay, I don't care if I have that many girls. So she sat down and I, as a few-day-old baby, witnessed all that. I absorbed all that energy, and no wonder I became the first person in my family to do this work to shift all this. I decided this self-worth issue, it ends right here with me. So my daughters or my nieces and nieces, including nephews too, they are not going to inherit this. And as I am doing this work, as I'm shifting this, where do I draw my worth from? It is creating a change. It's creating a very visible change. It has created a very, very visible change in my family. And the same is going to happen in your family. You're going to see in a couple of years, you'll be like, oh, wow, everybody's changing. Once I started, but the first person who do the work, they have to put in a little bit more because they're trying to push the boulder, and then everyone else joins, and then it becomes easier. So the second thing we were talking about, that do I treat myself as God? Very, very important. I'm going to give you some very few things to just focus on. So first, start to see yourself as the true and the false self. In your mind, when those thoughts come, see like, did I talk to God like that? Okay, I'm not gonna talk to God like that. The second piece is the way you treat yourself. So when we do have low self-worth issues, which is actually we don't trust ourselves, we become people pleaser. We start to put ourselves down just to cling on to somebody. A lot of codependent behavior shows up. We don't trust ourselves to take care, so we are always depending on other people to do it. So what I am going to invite you to do here is start treating yourself as if you're somebody very special. In terms of, do you need to create boundaries with some people? Do you need to learn to say no as a complete sentence? Do you need to pamper yourself a little bit? Do you need to stop working so hard to prove your worth? Because if you're trying to prove it with hard work, you can never do it, because self-worth is a state of being. It's not a state of doing. A person can do, they can have like 20 hours work day, still feel not worthy. Someone can do a 4-hour work day and feel very worthy. The reason they are basing their worth based on how much my output is based on the unconscious programming. I erased the picture. It's based on the unconscious programming. So we are switching from there to, am I treating myself like a God, like a higher power, in terms of my words, in terms of my actions? When I feel tired, do I actually sit down, or I say, you know what? I'm one of those women who keep my house very clean. I'm going to make sure I stay up till midnight and I clean all of my house. What we are doing in that moment, we are not treating ourselves as a higher power. We are treating ourselves as, a slave. That no, you better do all this work. If your house is not sparkling clean, you're not going to be worthy. Because somebody has an opinion about a dirty home. So you don't want to hear that opinion. You want to be above that opinion and show them that your house needs to be clean. Just giving one example how it could show up in your life. Now you can go through your whole life, just take like 5-10 minutes and see the way you treat yourself. And if you, again, have hard time just looking at your life, again, you could have blind spots, reach out to me. I can help you. Just one conversation, I can help you look at how your life is and where you are treating yourself in such a poor way. Because if you don't treat yourself as a God, as a higher power, as the magnificent being that you are, even if your subconscious programming say treat yourself poorly because you're a woman and that's what you should do, or treat yourself poorly because you're a man and that's what you should do. You should, like, work 3 jobs to provide for your family. That's what your upbringing says. That's the programming in your unconscious mind. You're driving yourself to grave. You're not living. That's not what a highest creation do. So just look at your life. Do I need to create new boundaries? Do I need more rest? Do I need to pamper myself? Do I need to create some positive words to say to myself? Do I need to create a new ritual to spend some time with myself? Do I take myself on a date? Do I treat myself as if I am so special? Or I'm waiting for someone else to come and treat me as if I am special? And I would again tell you, if that is what you're waiting for, no one can truly treat you for the rest of your life as if you're the most special person. If somebody is doing that, if they're doing it all the time, most of the time, it's a sign of codependent relationship. They are giving, hoping you'll give them back. And sometimes if they don't get enough back from you, they're like, oh, it's okay. At least she gave me that much. When we have so low self-worth, we attract partners, friends in our life who also have low self-worth, and we create codependent relationships. In a long term, never works out. And most of the people, they stay in that miserable situation and they're just like, I'm just going to try to be grateful. But inside, they are not happy. Our goal is to develop ourselves to a higher level and create beautiful, happy relationships. And if only you do the work, everybody around you is going to shift in a positive way, in a very, very positive way. So the first is, I am worthy because God created me. He actually thought of me and created me, and he never creates anything in vain. And I'm going to treat myself like I would treat a higher power. And these are state of being. Every time your mind goes to, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, you're going to ask yourself, am I being the highest creation? So I'm going to take it top down or bottom up. Trust. Because at the bottom, it's all about trust. The more you learn to trust, I would say, yourself first. And the way we build self-trust is, I would say, I'm going to do something and I actually do it. If you're not 100% sure that you have the discipline to do it, don't put it on your calendar. Don't agree to it. Because every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you break that trust with yourself. For example, I'll give you my example because I have learned this. I do have a physical fitness goal that I have not put on my calendar. I did it one day. I did put it on calendar. And then I was like, I don't think so. I'm going to stick to it yet because I'm doing the groundwork right now. So I took it off my calendar. It's still just marinating in my mind. Okay, that's the goal I have. I have already made the decision, but it's going to take time for me to create the discipline to actually take the actions. So if you are ready with something like, or you can use something you're already doing. Maybe let's say you brush your teeth every day. You're very good with it. Maybe you even brush it twice a day. You're really good at it. Every time you brush your teeth, remind yourself, I trust myself. We are associating two behaviors. So your mind gets rewired. Oh, every time I do it, I trust myself more. So every time you'll brush your teeth, your trust with yourself would go higher. And then you can start adding other things. Very simple way to create self-trust. The second is trusting life itself. Now, if you have had a bumpy ride in life, you might find it challenging to trust life. So one one little tip that you can use every day when you wake up, you just be very grateful for the brand new day. You set an intention. One thing that I saw somewhere and I have implemented, I say to myself, I have never seen this day before. I have never seen it. Isn't that true? We have never seen this day before. And I wonder how magical it's going to be. So I'm setting an intention and I am putting that little bit trust in there. And when I trust my day, I start trusting my life. I start feeling life supports me. And when I am so focused on the magic in my life, it creates more magic because I am looking for it. It's just like if I say, look for a red car on the road, you'll start seeing red cars all the time. It's the same way we can create a beautiful life when we are focused on it. And another one is trusting God. If you do have, actually, I'm going to say it this way. Most of the people I have met, known, including myself, I consider myself as a very religious person. And I was like, oh, my connection with God is really good. I did not trust God. And I only discovered it when I started doing this work. So trust in God is when you ask for something, you have unshakable belief that you're going to get it, unshakable faith that you're going to get it. If you ask and then you're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. Oh my God, it's been like, what, 5 days and I still didn't get it. That you're not trusting God. So how you can build that trust is just giving yourself this thing to focus on. I'm just thinking like, how did it really click for me? Being in communication with God, becoming aware He's present right now, all the time. It's going to take a lot of your energy in the beginning. A lot of energy, because we are so used to living, just being busy. Like if I'm doing dishes, my mind is thinking about yesterday, and then this is what I have to do. Drop all of that and be, God is here right now with me, right here, right now. I believe I can do it pretty good for maybe 40-50% of time now. And again, I forget. So a good idea is you can put little notes. God is here with me right now. And most of the religion, they talk about how God is closer to our own breath. Just becoming aware. It's like, you have an invisible friend. The more you tell yourself, I have an invisible friend, you actually start believing you have it. On a spiritual level, you might already believe that. But what we are doing, we are engraving it in our subconscious mind, in our physical nervous system. We are putting it in our emotional body that He's right here, whether I see Him or not, He's right here, right here, right here. That's how you can start building trust in God. Trust in other people. It's very easy. The more you trust yourself, the easier it will be to trust other people. So if you have problem trusting other people, you're not trusting yourself. I know it's a very harsh truth to face, but if we don't face the truth, we don't grow. So if we take the judgment out of it and you realize, okay, if I don't trust other people, that means I don't trust myself. Okay, let me start building that trust. Instead of focusing on other people, how bad they are, how hard it is to trust them, focus on your relationship with yourself and build trust there. So once you build these 4 trusts, again, your foundation is getting very solid. When you have that, you can move towards confidence. And when you move towards confidence, start seeing yourself in terms of the attributes of higher power, creative, loving, kind, generous. So I practice Islam, and there are like 99 names of God that I I have at some point gone through and learned about them. Definitely need to revisit them. But whatever religion you belong to or you were raised with, just look at different, like, if you study Bible, you study Torah, you study Gita, whatever book that you study, or if you just believe in the universe. So go out and be in nature. That's the easiest way to connect with the universe and look at, oh, everything is beautiful. So put that beauty as one of your attributes, because you're part of nature. You're beautiful too. Everything grows, everything regrows, everything keeps growing. There's sun that nurtures, that gives life. So you start putting all the attributes down for yourself. And if you do have, a religious background to fall onto, and you can just open one of the, scriptures, and you can just write down, like, these are the different attributes. Focus on themselves as being within you. You might not feel connected yet, but the more you will focus on them, the more you'll start connecting with them within you, because you are infinite being in a finite body. But you can connect to those higher qualities or higher attributes that exist within you, because the one you created you have those higher attributes. So then your confidence is going to start getting higher, because you would be like, oh my God, I have all these skills and abilities within me. And then what is going to happen, your self-esteem, the way you see yourself, is going to change. How do you see yourself? You see yourself as the highest creation created. It might not make any sense to you. You might say, Ali, I barely passed college, or I barely passed high school. I don't think so. I have those attributes. You might not see them. Here's something I'll share with you. See yourself from the eyes of God. Don't see yourself as from the eyes of your parents. I know our parents have said it. Some parents who have that kind of emotional intelligence, sometimes they want to boost up your confidence, and they're like, why don't you see yourself from my eyes? You're so loving. You're this, you're that. Scratch that. Start seeing yourself from the eyes of God. How would God see you? And again, if you go and sit in a forest, you're in nature, it will be so much easier for you to feel the answer, instead of just trying to come up with it in your head, or trying to fight with the answer. You'll be able to feel that love coming to you from the whole universe. How God really sees you. Again, these are the things you'll be doing on a regular basis. It's not that you listen to this once and then you run away and you're like, okay, I don't need to do it anymore. No, listen to it a few times and practice this every single day. See yourself how God will see you. Now we are coming to self-worth. Self-worth is all about who you are being. Who you are being. It has nothing to do what you have accumulated. It's not, are you being light? Are you being love? Oh, don't forget one thing. I'm not talking about, are you being light to other people? Are you being light to you? Are you being kind to you? Are you being loving to you? Because that is where self-worth is. It's not what you can do for other people. That would automatically happen. What you can do for you, that's where you heal it. And let's say a few months from today, you actually listen to all of that and you start putting it into practice, and you really start to be so kind, loving, gentle with yourself. It'd be so much easier to be that with others, because then you connected with your truth. You connected with your true self. You kind of left the false self to a side, and you started connecting with your truth. Who you're going to become then? What kind of opportunities will come your way? If you are in a career or you have a business, how further will you take it? How much will you demand from your surrounding, from the trust in God, from the trust in yourself? Maybe there's some things you want to do, you would actually sit down and do it. That's how, when you build this self-worth from ground up, it can completely transform your life. But this requires work. But if you just go get a good idea, get involved with very smart people, and you generate a lot of money in that partnership or whatnot, you'll have a lot of stuff, but you're still not going to feel worthy. But when you do this work, the rest of it would automatically happen. And that is something I want for all of you, for each and every one of us, to be able to live to our true potential and to be able to use all that we can offer to humanity. As I said in the beginning, it was going to be a long one. It is a long one. Stick to it. Take whatever you can take from it. Reach out to me. Just, Google Alia, the Love Coach. You'll find me on social media. Just send me a DM and let's start building this self-worth within you, so you can not just heal your own family lineage, you can transform the generations to come, and you can transform this world. You can be part of that, because your light is going to shine so much brighter when you have a very solid self-worth. So that is all for today. I'll see you all next Thursday, sending you lots of love. Bye.